Going back even further this time. I'm going back to Napoleonic warfare. Yeah, I am. Stay with me. It's going to be good. I know some of you just started yawning. Don't. It'll be good. 1800s, early 1800s, Napoleon, as he's trying to conquer Europe, decides he's going to march his forces into Russia. He's going to go off there, attack Russia. He takes, give or take, 500,000 men, bunch of horses, wagons, the whole deal, cannon, goes off to conquer Russia. Heads into Moscow, captures Moscow, goes, great, we're winning. He's not winning. It's an ultimate disaster. He begins to retreat. He falls back, and he comes home to France with less than 50,000 men, depending upon who you talk to. So about 90% casualties. And you would say, oh my God, that's obviously why Napoleon was finished off. He lost all those men. And that was true. But the Russians lost about 400,000 men too. They had more of them, obviously, because Russia's a bigger country. But he controlled a whole bunch of Europe. So why didn't Napoleon all of a sudden say, you know what? Let me get my cavalry back together, get my units back together, and go back to fighting wars all over again? Well, Napoleon actually didn't win another battle at all. He lost Waterloo and as famous. But one of the biggest reasons why he couldn't do that, why am I telling you the story, is the critical aspect of Napoleon heading out and coming back and losing all those men. He was actually able to get more men. That he was able to do, and put them in uniforms again, and he fought in the battle, so he was able to do it. And so with the Prussians and the Austrians, and they all put a bunch more people back into the field again. But the one thing Napoleon couldn't put back into the field was cavalry. Why in the world couldn't he put cavalry back into the field? So critical in the 1800s. Cavalry was everything. It was used to scout, used to attack, used to flank, used for, movement, maneuver. There's no cars and no tanks, no planes. Horses are everything. Because his people ate the horses on the way back from Russia. No horses came back. A lot of people went on horseback. They all came back on foot. The horses were all gone. You couldn't just get horses from farms and put them into play. And most who don't know this, but there's a difference between a horseman or a hobbler and a cavalryman. A cavalry horse is one that can fight in battle. It's not afraid by swords and cannons and guns and such. It can fight. The average horse is skittish. It runs away. A critical piece of rebuilding that army of Napoleon was horses that he just didn't have time and energy to train. It takes years to train a horse to be able to function in formation, in combat. Years! He just didn't have it. A critical piece. Why would I bring that crazy story up now? Because all I hear about now is build back better. We're going to build everything back up. We're going to bring and build our economy back. But you know what the workhorse of our economy actually is? The entrepreneur. The small business owner. We have just marched into Russia with all our entrepreneurs, on the backs of our entrepreneurs, on the backs of our small business owners. And we've already lost that war. And we're slowly marching back. And as we march back from this horrible attack, what are we doing? We're eating our entrepreneurs. We're literally eating our entrepreneurs. We're destroying the people that we need to rebuild our economy. As of quarter 3, October 1, 2020, over 100,000 small businesses that closed in our country. 60,000 will never come back. 60,000 entrepreneurs finished. Crushed. And the reason why I bring this story up is because I heard of a story in my area, in New York City where I live, actually in Queens where I live. In fact, in Astoria, Queens, where I live. A guy who runs a hookah bar. Yes, it's Queens. Don't tease me, it's Queens. So a guy runs a hookah bar. He burned his hookah bar down. I guess he tried to do it in a cool way to not get caught, but he's not a criminal. Well, he is now. But he wasn't a criminal. He wasn't a criminal. He was a hookah bar owner who's in debt and losing money and was desperate or angry. And he tried to burn his hookah bar down. I'm sure trying to get the insurance, I assume at least, or just completely angry like if I can't have it, nobody can. Either way, bad. Either way, desperate. But he wasn't good at it, and he got caught. Of course he got caught. He wasn't a criminal. But he became one. He became a criminal. And now, what is the response from our government? He's a horrible person. I'm so glad law enforcement caught this monster. That's the responses. We're going to put him in jail. He's going to go to jail anywhere from 5 to 20 years. 5 to 20 years. He's finished. And they might say, well, good, Larry. This guy's an arsonist. Well, what I would say is we just lost another entrepreneur. Another entrepreneur. Gone. Because of desperation. I am not excusing his actions. I want to be clear. I'm saying what I always say. Predictable and preventable. Bad activity that was predictable and preventable. And we watch it happen. And instead of being sad or concerned, what can we do to fix it? It's let's punish him. He's a criminal. Destroy him. The only answer is to eat our horses. Bad horse. Eat the horse. That's the problem. You think, well, the local people, they're probably okay, right? They're supporting him, right? No. They're like, good. Ha ha, dummy. He got caught. That's the responses for him. There's no support for him. So now the people who will need those jobs in the future are now like, good. He's dumb. We are literally eating our own horses. We are destroying the backbone of our economy. Slowly, surely, and the vast majority of us don't even realize it. In fact, we think it's just. We think it's righteous. Let's destroy them. Put them under. What do you hear now? Well, capitalism's bad. The reason why this failed was because of capitalism. And who's saying that? The people who are super wealthy. How about the individual small business owner who hasn't had a paycheck in a year because of COVID? Hasn't had a paycheck in a year, and any money they got in, they either used to pay their employees or to pay their vendors. Meanwhile, they still starve. And if you've been a small business owner, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Where you make less money than everybody around you, but you take on the burden. These are the people who've decided we want to crush. These are the people who've decided we want to hurt. I would ask you, how are we going to build back better when we're crushing the most important part of our economy? Napoleon was a great general. He gambled and almost conquered all of Europe. But in the end, he couldn't rebuild his military because one of the backbone pieces of his military were destroyed. And it would take years to bring that back online. By that time, he was already dead. Is that going to be us? Are we destroying the most important engine of our economy? And will it take years to build this back? I keep hearing build back better. I believe we're built back. It's the better part that I'm not really sure about. I'm not sure how good it's going to be. But do I have an answer? You know I do! It's a free solution! Larry Sharpe, host of the Sharpe Way Show, here on A Free Solution, 585-346-3000. Back after the break.
Your business relies on computers and technology to operate. Slow, unreliable networks and servers can cause unplanned downtime and affect your bottom line. The experts at SimpleTech Innovations are here to help. Their preventative maintenance program ensures that your computers and network are kept up to date and monitored for any issues, keeping your business running smoothly. They also help clients achieve HIPAA, PCI, and New York State cybersecurity compliance to keep your network safe and secure. Whatever your business IT needs are, SimpleTech Innovations should be your first call. They've won the Best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Call them today for a free consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
When you've been seriously injured in a car crash, you need a lawyer who knows how to beat the big insurance companies. Call me and I'll take them on so you can focus on your health and family.
Car crash, call Salino. Salino, call Salino. 888-2020.
Main Street, Rochester.
A message from the National Police Association. It used to be that any able-bodied person would offer to assist a police officer in danger. Now, passers-by are more likely to take a video. There's a better use for your phone when an officer's in trouble. Call 911. Tell the operator where you are and what you see. Then, start your video to provide evidence later. To learn more about how you can assist law enforcement, visit nationalpolice.org. That's nationalpolice.org.
Why do businesses choose to move their website from Wix and Squarespace to SimpleTech Innovations? Maybe it's their excellent customer service or attention to detail. Maybe it's their ability to give a truly customized solution. Or perhaps they just like the fact that SimpleTech is a local small business that builds great relationships with its clients. Whatever the reason may be, you can rest assured knowing that the local team at SimpleTech has your best interest in mind when building or updating your website. They're hands-on and love helping customers achieve their goals. But don't take my word for it. They've won the Best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. If your website doesn't match your dreams or isn't achieving your goals, give the professionals at SimpleTech Innovations a call today for a consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
A free solution.
Hey, Larry Sharp here on A Free Solution, host of The Sharp Way Show. Please head on over to Facebook and follow me on The Sharp Way. Here on WYSL, WENY and ENI in Elmira and Corning, The Patriot, and of course WACK in Newark, New York. That's the cool Newark, not the one in New Jersey. Thank you for giving me part of your afternoon. 585-346-3000. Well, I did my history lesson, as I often do here on the show, talking about Napoleonic War. Well, I'm not done yet. I'm not. I'm now going to go 1944, 1945, the Japanese Navy, Japanese military. Some of you remember what was happening then. Military was devastated by many American victories. We had beaten them at Midway. We had beaten them at the Battle of Coral Sea. And their Air Force was devastated. Their naval Air Force, devastated. Devastated in China. So what they use? They used the kamikaze. Some of you remember that, right? Throw a pilot in a plane and basically throw the plane at a ship. Why in the world would they throw a plane at a ship? They had planes, so they could make the planes, right? That's the one thing the Japanese could make. They could make the planes. But what did they not have? Pilots. Trained pilots. They had lost most of their trained pilots in the battles in the Pacific and the battles in China over the past several years. They didn't have trained pilots. They were dead. or captured, but most were dead. So what could they do? They had planes, so throw planes at ships, literally. Put in terrible pilots that hardly trained, sometimes basically children, fill them full of explosives, and fly straight into that ship and sink that ship with your bomb. And they called them the kamikaze. Actually, it's pronounced in Japanese the kamikaze, which means, by the way, divine wind. Kami means God or deity, and kaze means wind. And that comes from, by the way, for you history buffs, the invasions of the Mongols in the 1200s, the 13th century, and when the storm came by and trashed the Mongolian ships, they called that God's wind, or the wind of the gods, the kamikaze. Now, this was going to happen and win the war. Clearly, it didn't. But they were just throwing planes at ships. Well, what are we going to do when we don't have our pilots? Yes, I'm talking about the entrepreneur again. I'm talking about the small business owner again. But we don't have planes to throw at ships, and we're destroying all of our pilots as fast as we possibly can. We'll let them get shot down and destroyed in this horrible war, supposedly on COVID, but it's not. It's a war on small businesses, and it's very effective. It's destroying businesses left and right. That's happening. By the way, 2/3 of all new jobs come from small businesses. So when we destroy all our small businesses, where do those jobs come from? Well, we don't have planes to throw at ships, but you know what we have? Money. Lots of it, because we can just print it and borrow it from China. What could go wrong? So we're going to take all our money and we're going to throw money at stuff. We can't throw planes at ships. We'll just throw money at stuff. Tons and tons of money at stuff. That's how it'll work. What could possibly go wrong? Those businesses that aren't going to be here anymore, probably 100,000 or more, would be my guess. We know it's at least 60,000 from, again, October of last year. Who knows how bad it is now? I don't know if we have data for that yet. I couldn't find data on that, so that we may not have that yet. But I know from Q3 of last year, 60,000 are not coming back. Those are done. So we'll throw money at the problem. That'll work. If we just throw lots of money, then we'll be fine. Well, Larry, what are we going to do when it comes to making these new jobs? Well, we'll throw money at government, and then government will make jobs. Hear that all the time. Government can make jobs. Well, this is true. Government can make jobs. That is the thing it can do. It can pass a law and say you must do something, and now someone has to make sure or monitor that you must do something, so you hire people to monitor the thing that you now have to do that we've made up. Happens all the time. Then we'll just throw money at it through borrowing or just printing money in our magical printing press at the Fed, and we'll just make money. That's true. How long can that last? How long can that last? Right now, give or take, 1 in 8 Americans works for the government. If you count government-funded projects, maybe more like 1 in 7. Where are we going to go to? 1 in 5? 1 in 4? At that point, aren't we just a socialist nation at that point? We've got that many people working directly for government? Who's paying taxes if everybody's salary is taxes? How does that work? It seems to be almost impossible. But I have another problem. While those 100,000 small business owners are going under and 60,000 never coming back, and who knows now, that doesn't include the hundreds of thousands of small businesses that are barely holding on, that are hammered, that are so broken, that are just barely holding on. And man, I know that. Some of you may know my story, and you may not. But I started my business, the one that I have now, in 2004. And when I started it 17 years ago, it started off really good. Within 2 or 3 years, I was rocking and rolling. Had an office on 3rd Avenue here in Manhattan. Had a staff of 2 people, which again is small business, but still. Had my own training facility. I was a trainer, coach, teacher, consultant. Had my own little training facility there in the office. Life's good. money is flowing. I thought, there's no way this will ever stop. I focused myself on two specific markets, commercial real estate and investment banking. And I thought, man, nothing could possibly go wrong. And then 2008, 2009 hit. And the two industries hit the worst, commercial real estate and investment banking. I was devastated. I lost about 90% of my business almost overnight. And when that happened, what do you think I did? Clearly, I just, shut down and rebooted, right? No, because I was an entrepreneur. I was a small business owner. This was my baby. Of course not. I'm optimistic, as most small business owners are and must be, to do this, right? Why would you do this if you weren't optimistic? Of course. So I thought, how long could this last? What, 6 months? Maybe. Come on. I'll be fine. And debt mounted. And I kept working. I worked harder. My relationship struggled with my family. My business struggled. And eventually I had to let go of my employees. Now, I fired many people in my life, but these bothered me the most because they did nothing wrong. They did nothing wrong. I had to let them go. It wasn't because they messed up or were bad or they left because they found a better job. No, they just had to go. And if you're a small business owner or you've seen that happen, you know how much that hurts. It begins to break you, hurt you, and you don't want to come back. Eventually, I had to shut down my office, accept that I had 6 figures of debt, and go back home with my tail between my legs, and then reboot my entire business model all over again from scratch. Thinking I was indestructible, realizing that I was just human, and I got my butt kicked like so many people did. By 2010, it was the lowest point, I would say, actually, in my life. Horrible. Many people who go through that never recover. Never recover. And when I mean never recover, I mean either mentally or physically. Their families collapse. Look, you've been around a block. You know that one of the biggest problems we have with relationships is money. Big problem. All of a sudden, everything around you begins to collapse. We're doing that literally with hundreds of thousands of small business owners. Men and women that we need to regrow our economy. Men and women that we need to get back in action, to grow small businesses, to be innovative, to hire people, to give the youth a chance at experience and growth. We need them. And we are breaking their spirit right now. I know I've had my spirit broken. I know I've had to fire people. I know how bad that was. For me, that was 11 years ago. For hundreds of thousands of Americans, that's today. That's right now. And I would ask you, who in our leadership is talking about that? Who is saying, here are the people that we need. We're going to build back better. We're going to get the economy back. We're going to do all this great stuff. Who's going to do it? The government's going to do it? Magic? Elves? No, it's not magic. We need real answers. And I promise I'll give them to you. Because I always do. Larry Sharp, here, host of the Saltway Show, here on A Free Solution, 585-346-3000. Back after the break.
God bless America. AM 1040 Avon Rochester, FM 92.1 Rochester, and FM 95.5 Spencerport.
Here's the latest forecast from the News 10 NBC Weather Center. For tonight, we'll see plenty of clouds out there, a gusty breeze, a few snow showers and local lake flakes, maybe an inch or two in spots overnight. In the 20s on your Wednesday, we'll see some morning lake flakes and mostly cloudy. Temperatures will stay in the 20s, colder, teens and 20s by Thursday. I'm Rich Cornelia on WYSL.
Right now is a great time to shop at Victor Chevrolet. Come see how easy it is to do business with us. Winter driving is safe and fun when you drive a 2020 Equinox front-wheel drive LS. Own it for just $299 a month for 84 months, up to $8,400 off. All factory rebates, incentives, and discounts apply. Or lease a 2021 Equinox front-wheel drive LS for just $189 a month for 39 months. Enjoy the versatility of a tough and roomy 2021 Trailblazer LS. Lease it for only $149 a month for 39 months. Or you can lease a 2021 Chevy Traverse LS all-wheel drive for just $319 a month for 39 months. Equinox, Traverse, or Trailblazer must have any current lease in household. 10,000 miles per year. $2,500 cash or trade. First payment, tax, acquisition, and DMV fees are all due at signing for all leases. Tier 1 credit approval required. And absolutely all deals end 1/31/2021. This winter, find new roads at Victor Chevrolet, Route 96 in Victor. Visit VictorChevrolet.com.
With the recent boom of music, video, and movies on the internet, are you tired of crowding around a smartphone while the television collects dust and cable bills go up and up? Never fear. Global Television is finally here. Introducing Streamplicity. Streamplicity is an Android tablet that you connect to your television or home theater. No more squinting at a small screen with wimpy speakers. With Streamplicity, you can watch a selection of TV channels from around the world. Binge watch from all your favorite streaming services. Cut the cord from the cable company and subscribe only to the services you want. Streamplicity is easy to use, and unlike a smart TV, it doesn't spy on you or restrict what you watch. It's fully legal and not one of those hacked sticks your brother-in-law is always trying to sell you. See the world from your Streamplicity. Visit Streamplicity.com to reserve yours today. That's Streamplicity.com.
Geneseo Hardware and Rental has a new expanded location on Route 28, east of the village of Geneseo. Over 6,000 square feet with a large selection of plumbing, electrical, home and garden, and much more. Geneseo Hardware offers Valspar paint, a wide selection of rental items, plus screen and window repair. Get personalized service at the new, bigger location. Geneseo Hardware and Rental, Route 28, next to Wegmans Plaza. Visit Geneseo-rental.com.
Gift certificates now available. Your Livingston County Department of Health knows when it comes to the COVID vaccine, you've got questions. Currently, New York's in dual phases 1A and 1B of the corona shots. If you're over 65 years old, you're eligible for the vaccine. You can check your personal status by visiting livingstoncounty.us/1207/COVID-19 or call the Department of Health at 877-280-6775. 877-280-6775. Locally, call 243-7299.
Inside the Taylor Laboratories.
Hey, Tony, what you doing?
A little experiment, Zach. Look what I have under the microscope.
Ugh, what's that?
A sample of indoor air.
How can it be that dirty? Don't AC and furnace filters help?
Only with dust, Zach. But when Taylor installs a whole house APCO air purifier to detox the air, odors, chemicals, mold, bacteria, and viruses are removed.
For clean indoor air.
Yep. Ain't science awesome?
Taylor, 500 help.
These days, we're pinching pennies everywhere we can. On groceries, utilities, even insurance. But get into one car accident and your rates could rise as much as 40%. Suddenly your affordable insurance isn't. Are you in good hands?
Call Allstate agent Vincenzo Scolo, 381-3530, and see how much you can save. 2 locations, 835 Fairport Road in East Rochester and 919 Winton Road South in Rochester.
Allstate Property and Casualty Insurance Company, Northbrook, Illinois.
Mary Cariola Center is currently hiring. Direct support professionals, teacher aides, nurses, teacher and clinical positions are available. Cariola's Grow Our Own program offers the opportunity to develop and advance your career through scholarships or tuition discounts for certification and degree programs at area colleges, all while you work and continue to earn a paycheck. Simply put, we pay for you to grow with us. Apply today at marycariola.org/employment or visit Cariola Careers on Facebook.
A free solution.
Welcome back to A Free Solution. Thank you for giving me a chunk of your afternoon. Larry Sharp, host of The Sharp Way. Please head on over to Twitter and follow me on The Sharp Way Twitter. It's a cool Twitter. I'm telling you. And if you don't like it, you can always unfollow. here on WYSL, WENY, ENI, Elmira and Corning, The Patriot, WACK, Newark, New York, the cool Newark, 585-346-3000. I know I've given you a minor history lesson these last two segments, but this time, a smaller one and a very, very recent one. And that is what I just talked about, the crash of 2009, 2010. Some of you may not know what actually happened after that with so many of the small businesses that collapsed then. Nowhere near as many as now. It's going to be a whole lot worse. But then, a lot of those entrepreneurs, they felt broken, particularly those that were older, those who were in their late 40s, early 50s, early 60s, and they found themselves having to go back to work. There were people who were now, because of how bad that depression was or recession was, they literally couldn't retire. And they had to go back to work at 65 or 70, all those things. So where were they going to go? A lot of them went to work for government. It was a very common thing. They'd say, you know what, I busted my rump as an entrepreneur for X number of years, and now I'm done. I want something easier. I want a better job with some benefits. I'm going to go to government. And what you found then, what I think you're about to find now, is two groups of people coming to government. One, the people who are around 30 or so, a little bit older than 30. They've gone to school, done the 4-year thing. Took them 6 years, though. That's the average. They maybe went back, got some more. They tried something cool, like being some kind of cool startup or something like that. Maybe some gig work, right? They did some Ubering and maybe some Grubhubbing or something like that. Fiverr, any of those types of things. Not working for them. And now, the way we shut everything down, they're starving. They're in trouble. Their resumes are broken. Their spirit's broken. They're going to rush to government. Try to get a government job someplace. Working for the local prison, for the local school district, for the sheriff's department, whatever, any of those things, right? Working for something local, some Social Security Administration, insert thing here. And someone else you're going to find. The guy or gal who's now 50 and is saying, I'm not prepared to restart my business. When I was 20 or 30, I had the energy and the vision and desire and the hunger to go make that happen. And I was ready. And now that's been taken away from me. You know what? I'm done. I'm not ready to start all over again. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to find me a government job. And that's what happened in 2010 and 11. One of the reasons, there are many of them, for the increase in government jobs. I think you're going to find that now. Same thing. A bunch of people who would be entrepreneurs who are now going to instead find themselves stuck in bureaucracy. And not that bureaucracies are bad necessarily. I mean, I'm a libertarian, obviously, but I get it. Some people really enjoy having that type of job that's much more structured, nowhere near as unpredictable as an entrepreneurial job. I get it. Nothing wrong with that. At the same point, though, I don't want that to dominate our economy. We're coming up with a world to where only the big businesses and government is creating any types of jobs or work. Again, not against big business either, but that should not be the bulk of our economy. The plan right now, you might say, well, Larry, it's okay because they got a plan, right? And Biden's going to save us all. Uncle Joe is going to write us some checks and save us all. He's got $2 trillion, Larry. What could go wrong? This is going to be amazing. And what I would say is, his actual plan, where is the part on growth? Where's that part of that massive plan that Uncle Joe's going to hook us up with? I don't know where that is. What I know is a big chunk of those checks goes to his own cronies, as is the norm. I'm not mad at him for that one because they all do it. That everybody does. So whoever would have been in charge, it goes to cronies. That's how it works. So cronies get their cut because that's the system we're in. I can't stand it. There it is. But where's the part that grows small businesses? I see the part that goes to cronies. I see the part that literally funds government. How backward is that? How backward is that? Let me be honest here. If you want your government to run, shouldn't your government run on taxes? Right? Okay, makes sense. So how about you keep your economy going so the economy creates taxation which funds your government? That seems to make sense. You want your government to run? You want taxation? That's the way. We don't do that. We fund the government directly. Well, then how do we build back better? How do we do that? We actually think the government is senior to small business. I'm not joking. The dollars show that. That's what matters most, is giving the money to fund the government versus giving money to build the economy so that we can fund the government. So how do you do that? How do I look like I'm building back better? By making more government. By taking those whose spirit has been crushed and giving them now a soul-crushing job in government to them. Now, don't get me wrong, not every job is soul-crushing. But if you want to be an entrepreneur, yes, it is. If you like bureaucratic jobs, it's fine. Good for you. Awesome. But if you're an entrepreneur, that's soul-crushing. Me getting a government job like that, oh my God, I don't know what I would do with myself. That's going to be our plan. Fund the government, and then we'll make more jobs. That's how we'll build back better. We'll build back better by making a larger government infrastructure. We'll build back better by making more people not want to be innovative, not want to make new changes, but to fall in to our method of government is right, shut up, you're a number. That's where we're going to. You see it. I see it. That's the future. But you might say, well, wait a minute, Larry. Then what can we do? If you want to write that big check, and I get it, government's very good at that. In fact, the only thing our government is good at right now is writing big checks. That we're good at. We can't get them out to the right people. Our planning is horrible. Our vaccines distribution is horrible. Everything's bad. But man, can we write a big check? That we got down better than anybody. So if you're going to write that big check, that's what I do well. So I'm going to write the big check. There's only two ways you can do that to actually make everything work. It's by focusing on the root and not on the branches. And we attack all the branches, throw money. Again, we are kamikazes. We throw money at all the branches and hope enough dies. The kamikaze didn't work. This won't either. But what's the root? The root is commerce. The root is business. That's the root. Fix that and we'll be okay. So how do individuals go do that? The individual person who's struggling now, they aren't struggling at the root because they don't have enough money coming in. That isn't the critical piece. We, as Americans, as New Yorkers, we know how to do without. We can do that. I've been in that spot before. You're listening, you probably have too. What is crushing us is our monthly debt. That's what's crushing us. If magically our monthly debt was gone, well, we'd probably be able to survive. We'd find a way of dealing with this, and we would go with less, and we would stretch those dollars. It's what so many Americans have done for literally generations. That we can handle, and then still find a way to save enough or to start enough to get rocking and rolling. We've done it before, more than once. So do one or two things. Suspend our debt and just pay the bank directly. Say, don't collect debt for 6 months. Here's your check or your money that we randomly print. Take it, banks, be quiet. Take the money and just don't collect debt for 6 months. I'm not saying erase debt. I'm not saying buy debt. I'm saying just don't pay for 6 months or 9 months or 3 months. I don't know what the number is of the months to be forward with you, but some amount. And let the people begin to rock and roll again, to get themselves back up to speed, to not feel like they've got that hanging over their head. Do that. But not just that. If the banks know that for the next 6 months, government's writing them checks, and there is nothing that banks love better than government checks. They love those checks. Then they're more open to loan, which means more business can start. We can now get the small business owners back in action. There is a way. without having to tax us more, without having to hammer us more. And you see what our Governor New York is doing. More taxes, more taxes, more taxes, so more people will leave, and he blames everybody else. Do this, and we can change. Do this, and we can get that engine that is the entrepreneurial spirit to go rock and roll. But let's say you can't think that far. You know what? You can't think that far. No worries. Easiest thing. Don't give any money to any businesses. Literally, just bribe the people. Throw us a bunch of money so we can spend it. Everybody gets $1,000. That, as horrible as that is better than what we have right now. And I'm not sure it's free for the government, but it is free for you. Larry Sharpe, a free solution. Host of the Sharpe Way Show, 585-346-3000. Back after the break.
Why do businesses choose to move their website from Wix and Squarespace to SimpleTech Innovations? Maybe it's their excellent customer service or attention to detail. Maybe it's their ability to give a truly customized solution. Or perhaps they just like the fact that SimpleTech is a local small business that builds great relationships with its clients. Whatever the reason may be, you can rest assured knowing that the local team at SimpleTech has your best interest in mind when building or updating your website. They're hands-on and love helping customers achieve their goals. But don't take my word for it. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. If your website doesn't match your dreams or isn't achieving your goals, give the professionals at SimpleTech Innovations a call today for a consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
Hi, my name is Ryan Bourne.
And I'm Danica Bourne.
And we're the owners of South Coast Tax. We would like to thank our Lord for protecting us from evil. Psalm 91 states, He is my refuge and my fortress, for He will rescue us from every trap and protect us from deadly disease.
South Coast Tax are Christian-based tax accountants and attorneys who specialize in releasing bank levies, wage garnishments, and filing complex tax returns. We are the leaders in acceptance of offers and compromise with awesome results.
We are also a small firm who will treat you like family and not just a number.
Call us today at 1-800-TAX-1176 for a free consultation, and we'll take the time to explain all of the programs that you qualify for in order to allow you a fresh start.
In John 8:36, so if the Son sets you free, you will be free indeed. And one way we can achieve that is by being debt-free. So let us help you today. Call us at 1-800-TAX-1176, and together we can help achieve this goal by putting the IRS tax debt behind you for good. Again, that number is 1-800-TAX-1176.
Your business relies on computers and technology to operate. Slow, unreliable networks and servers can cause unplanned downtime and affect your bottom line. The experts at SimpleTech Innovations are here to help. Their preventative maintenance program ensures that your computers and network are kept up to date and monitored for any issues, keeping your business running smoothly. They also help clients achieve HIPAA, PCI, and New York State cybersecurity compliance to keep your network safe and secure. Whatever your business IT needs are, SimpleTech Innovation should be your first call. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Call them today for a free consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
Free solution.
Hey, welcome back. A free solution. Larry Sharpe, host of the Sharpe Way Show. Please follow me on, hey, how about Instagram? I'm there too. The Sharpe Way on Instagram. Follow me over there and you can see some cool pictures. Here on WYSL, WENY, WENI, Elmira Corning, The Patriot, and WACK in Newark, New York. 585-346-3000. Lots of history lessons, but no more. Not, I don't think, yet. Maybe one more. We'll see. I'm going to ask. I have Jerry on the line here from Rochester. Jerry, how are you, my friend?
Very good. How are you?
I'm doing great. What's going on?
Good. Well, it was very interesting. Your history lessons are very good. But there's one thing you may have forgotten when you say that government is going to throw money at all their problems there. What happens with government when they print money with no backup causes inflation. And inflation, as you know, decreases the value of the currency. And so we got another spiraling problem right there.
Yeah, the funny part is, as we throw money at it, it's just a short-term solution. You're totally right. Right? It's short-term, it seems good because I've thrown money at it. Look, there's cash. But long-term, you're completely correct. If you look at the value of the dollar, I mean, what we buy for $1 now versus what we bought in 1940, it's night and day. Not even close. I remember my mother in the 60s, 70s, her yearly salary was $6,000 a year. And that was a good salary back then. Good salary. Now, you what could you do with $6,000 a year? Nothing.
Yeah. When I was born, the year I was born in, you supposedly could get at a diner. Admittedly, it was at a diner, but you would get 5-course meal at a diner for $1.
Wow.
Try and do that now.
I still remember a commercial in the 70s. For McDonald's. And they would say you could get a meal for $1 and still get change back. I think you get like a burger, fries, and a small Coke or something for under $1 and still get change back.
That's right.
You're totally correct. It's a massive problem. And it puts us into a point to where at one point we're going to have to somehow reboot the dollar. And to be forward, Jerry, I'm not sure how we do that. A part of me says it may require some form of cryptocurrency, or a part of me says we just basically say through just announcement, we just go, you know what? Proclamation, the dollar is now worth X, ounces of silver. And we just say it, and we just hope that people buy it.
Right. Yeah, I know. It's a really terrible problem that our politicians have gotten us into, because they just will not balance the budget. No matter what they do, they just will not balance the budget. So
yes, we have that problem here in New York State too.
Exactly.
And how we figure out in New York State how His Majesty King Andrew Cuomo II, all hail the king, how he has decided to balance the budget is by authorizing more debt, more loans. Mm-hmm. And it sounds crazy, but to your point, Jerry, this is how they balance the budget. They simply authorize more loans, then pay off the interest on that loan with money from the loan, and then say, see, we've balanced the budget. Yeah. Even though we have more debt, we're servicing our debt, therefore we've balanced the budget. There's no one else in their home who would think that.
Yeah, that'll eventually catch up with us too anyway, doing that too eventually.
Yes, and it is already. And there were so many bad things about COVID hitting our nation. So many bad ways that we responded. Government action was terrible in so many ways. But if I have to give at least one silver lining, is I think it did show some of the real problems that we have and the issues that we've had in this state for decades. And I'm hoping, maybe I'm wrong here, but I have some optimism that in the coming years, we won't just let Cuomo get away with, well, I was an awesome governor until COVID hit. I mean, if it wasn't for COVID, I'd be the best governor on the planet. I'm hoping we won't let him get away with that.
Right. Well, let's just hope for the best, or I should say maybe pray for the best to maybe even be better.
I'll do both. How about that?
Good.
I appreciate it. Jerry, thank you so much for your call.
Okay.
Have a good day. Jerry's right? He's talking about the idea that while throwing money at it sounds good, it fails. And this is why I talked about the kamikaze piece of throwing, planes at ships. Was there some initial success? There was. There was. Many Americans were afraid. They didn't want to bring the ships close. They were afraid of getting their ships blown up. They thought, oh my God, the Japanese will never surrender. There was a fear level, a terror level that did initially work. But in the long run, was it helpful? No. In the long run, the kamikaze attacks made Americans think even more the Japanese would never surrender. And it's one of the reasons why we dropped nuclear bombs on them. So Jerry saw that analogy and knew it was right on the money. Throwing money at the problem ended up with nuclear bombs. Devastation. Throwing planes at ships ended up with nuclear bombs. Well, throwing money at problems is going to end up in a devastated economy. The bigger problem that many people don't see is the Fed can only throw so much money at the problem until money has no value. It's like what Jerry's saying. At one point, the $600 they give you or the $2,000 they give you now has to become $3,000 or $4,000 or $10,000. And before you know it, I'll do my last history piece. I promise, guys. Don't beat me up. We're going to be like Germany in between World War I and World War II under the Weimar Republic. And all of a sudden now, you're paying tens of thousands. In those days, they were called Deutschmarks. That was their money back then. Tens of thousands of Deutschmarks for a loaf of bread to feed your family. Is that where we're going? I'm more concerned about that. I'm glad Jerry brought that up, because that is a bigger issue. How do you build back better when you don't have a currency that people believe in? I think that's a bigger issue, isn't it? How do you build back better? And I'm saying that because, to be forward, I'm not trying to tease the Biden administration. I know it sounds like I am, but I'm not trying to. I actually hope that we can build back better. I hope Biden doesn't blow this whole thing up. And I hope he doesn't break everything even worse. I hope he just lets us move along and grow on our own. I hope he does that. I'm just not confident that he will. I think he's going to actively try to take action and build back better. And I think the only thing he can imagine to do is write massive checks, make more laws, wind up controlling us more, crashing our entrepreneurial spirit, making more and more government jobs, taxing people even more to the local level, which is what will happen in New York and other states in New York City. And then eventually, to Jerry's point, watching it all collapse. But it won't collapse next year. It'll collapse after Biden's gone. And everyone will look at Biden as the savior who helped us. See, look, he threw more money at the problem than anybody else could throw money at. And then whoever is the president afterwards, when it collapses there, they'll blame them. See, it was their fault. They're the ones who ruined it for us all. But no, the answer is always the same. More freedom to those who want it. More openness to those who want to innovate. That is the free solution. That is what will move us forward. Larry Sharpe, host of the Sharpe Way Show, thank you so much for giving me a part of your afternoon. I will see you all in a couple days.